So I want to say I am so thankful and grateful that you take the time out of your week to join Luke and I on these calls. It really means the world to me. It shows me that you definitely want to get some results. You want to, you're tired of settling for wherever you're at right now, and you know deep down that your restaurant can be more, that you can be more. And by showing up to these seminars, these webinars, you are actually taking the step because you're rewiring your brain. You're learning some new stuff. You're learning some new information. Now, again, I will tell you, I'm gonna give you lots of tools today. This one is probably a very, very powerful workshop in the sense that these tools can be immediately applied. The only thing that's gonna hold you back, I will tell you up front, is your own fear. Because some of this stuff you're gonna feel like, if I do it, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you gotta just do it. Right? Embrace the fear and go forward. So today we're gonna talk about decoding menu psychology, influencing guest choices. Oh, I one of the things I love talking about is menu design. It is one of my favorite things. I've really done years and years of research into psychology, into buying psychology, because I've always been fascinated as a coach is why do people do stupid things they do? Why do people do things they know are in their best interest, but they don't do anything to change their lives or change their restaurants? I'm always baffled by that. So I dig into psychology a lot. I love reading those kind of mindset books. I love reading psychology books. I love this kind of stuff. It's what really fires me up. And today we are going to really dig into this really deep. So I would recommend having a piece of paper and a pen, right? Write down. Yeah. Look at Luke. He's already got his notes ready to
Hashtag.
go. Yeah, hashtag write this shit down. All right. Let's start off with my favorite quote. All business problems are, of course, people problems. And of course, as always, hey, stick around till the end and we have a gift for you. Right. We like to make it fun. I like to give you like just little supplemental tools that you can actually take the learning that you learned, the material you got today, and have a reference and something you can look back on and use as a cross reference. So I'm gonna give you a really cool, like a book today, a little booklet. Rules for today: have fun. Research, if you have fun, you're going to be a little bit more engaged learning stuff. Make sure to ask questions. You have two ways to ask us questions. You can ask in the chat directly, or there is a Q&A button on the webinar. You can ask questions there, and we usually have a spot at the end of the webinar to answer questions that get asked in there. And of course, remember, hashtag WTSD. What does hashtag WTSD mean? It means write this shit down. That's a gold nuggets. That's the stuff I want you to learn. Research has shown if you write stuff down in your own handwriting, you're 70% more likely to retain the information 30 days from now. That's my goal. If you and I have never met before, it's your first time on our webinars. I am Donald Burns. I am the restaurant coach. I am a recovering restaurant owner. I've been a consultant for big national food, broad service food service brands like Shamrock Foods, Cisco Foods, US Foods. I'm also a chef. I was a chef with Wolfgang Puck. I'm an author. I have quite a few books out there, mostly well known for my Your Restaurant Sucks trilogy. And then my latest book just came out, Savage Restaurant Success. And my new book's coming out next month called Ingredients. Fantastic stuff. Like you, I started out in the restaurant business. My father was a chef. I apprenticed with him when I was 15. When I was 18, I took a little break, got into the Air Force. I was in the U.S. Air Force pararescue teams. Then I got to college, started getting jobs back in restaurants, and then found out I really, really love the restaurant business. At 30, I opened my first restaurant. I would like to say that it took off great. It did not. It was a train wreck. And I was the engineer driving the train right into the wall. I was very, very fortunate that I found a business mentor who taught me some fundamental frameworks that I have taken for the last 28 years, extracted that information, refined it, and turned into what we call as the TRC method. This TRC method has helped over 2,800 independent restaurants around the world in 23 different countries. Here's the thing. The system works if you work the system. That's the best way I can describe it. The tools work if you use the tools properly. Tools are just potential. A hammer on the table is just potential. It's not until I pick that hammer up and actually apply it do I get the result. I can take that hammer, put a nail in the wall, hang a picture, good result. Take that same hammer, turn around, hit Luke in the head, go to jail for a very, very long time, bad result. Same tool, different application, different result. I will give you tons of tools. The whole purpose of this webinar series we're doing is to give you new tools. to start thinking a little bit differently. Because when we challenge your thinking, your perception, you're going to see things that kind of like, oh, that makes sense now. Oh, I can see where that's happening. Right. So let me ask you a question. What if I showed you some simple hacks that can increase sales 20% practically overnight without raising menu prices? Would you guys be interested? Give me a yeah in the chat if you're interested in learning some tools and techniques. So just to type it, yes, 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 yay. Oh, we got a hell yeah. There we go. There we go. Yes. All right, you guys are here to learn the good stuff. All right, so make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen because we're going to cover quite a few tools today, quite a few different ways that you can actually break free and get those profits up to where you want them, okay? So today we're going to talk about the elements of menu design to start off with. So the first part of this thing is the elements of menu design. Now, menu design is a very, very tricky thing. And when I talk about stuff, when I had my first restaurant, I was very fortunate to get this mentor who told me that, hey, Donald, if I gave you a combination lock and said, open a lock, could you open it? I said, well, not without the combination. He goes, exactly. But what if I taught you the combination? So he taught me this simple framework called people, product, process. We call it the 3P framework. And here's the thing I'll tell you about the 3P framework. It is invaluable about getting the restaurant and life you want. Everything you need to grow your restaurant to the point where you're not working in your restaurant, but working on your restaurant, to grow your profits to 15, 18, 20% is here inside this framework. Right now, looking at that framework is like, all right, that seems pretty simple. We have a series of workshops that we teach that give you the exact tools you need to unlock each category. Now, today we're going to dig into something that's called, it's a little part of what I call my Extreme Menu Makeover workshop. My Extreme Menu Makeover, now normally my full menu workshop is about 9 hours. We don't have a 9 hours a day. So I'm gonna give you the highlights. I'm gonna give you the gold nuggets. You're gonna take those things and you're gonna be able to apply some of these tools immediately, start seeing some results. And that's our goal today. Luke and I were talking the other day and we decided we want to give you some tools that can give you some really, really fast results. I will tell you without any hesitation that the tools I'm going to teach you today, when applied, will have an immediate impact on your bottom line, on your sales. Okay. So start off with a quote. I love this quote from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Perfection is achieved not when there's nothing more to add, but when there's nothing left to take away. Right. So here's the common question a lot of people ask. Does size matter? Menu size must match your brand. Now, there's a lot of different menu sizes out there, right? There's the classic, paper size, 8.5 by 11. There's a legal size, 8.5 by 14. I kind of like what they call the tabloid size, 11 by 17. Now, you're looking at this picture now, and this is what we call a portrait mode, or that's a portrait view. So the portrait kind of placement of this menu. I like a tabloid menu turned sideways, so it's landscape. Why? Because if I'm like, let's say I'm looking at Luke and I got my menu in front of me, it's a big tabloid menu, and I'm sitting there looking at the menu. Hey, Luke, how's it going today? How you doing? What? That sounds good, right? I can't see Luke, so I'm taking energy away. But if I turn that menu sideways and I'm looking at the menu like this, now I can look over the menu, look at Luke, and now we have eye contact, we have energy. The biggest thing you want to remember is, how can I increase the energy at the table? That's a driving factor I ask all my clients. How can you increase the energy at the table? Energy, I'm going to give you a basic physics lesson right here. Energy is either three things. It's either positive, neutral, or negative. It can only be those three things. Positive energy, we know what that effect is. It's a positive impact. Neutral energy is pretty much, that's like most restaurants. It's average. It's just mediocre. We don't want to be neutral. And again, definitely do not want negative energy. Negative energy, we're taking away energy from the table. So when you're thinking about energy, you're either bringing energy, you're either keeping the same energy, neutral, or you're taking energy away. We always want to see, how can I increase the energy at the table? So let's talk about a classic thing when we talk about menu design. Eye scan patterns. Oh, eye scan patterns. The myth and the truth. The eyes are the windows to the soul, and the eyes tell a lot about where people focus on menus. And I've done research over and over years. Back in the 70s, I would say there was a person who was called Dolfer. His name was William Dolfer. Doerlfer. He actually did a study back in the 70s, and he was looking at menu designs, and he found there was a complicated eye scan pattern that people looked at. And it turned into this thing called the Doerlfer effect. And a lot of restaurants have bought into this as this is where we have to put our menus like this. And it kind of goes like this. You look at number one, then you go up to number two, then you scoot across to number three, and then you go down to four, then you come up to five, down to six, and then back over to seven. I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, how do you really, it looks like you're trying to have a football game here. It's like a running a play for a high school football team. It's like, oh, you're going to go here, and then we're going to go there. No, then you're going to cut back here and do this. Now, here's the funny thing. This original study was done in the 70s. It's funny how we hold on to old, outdated belief systems, old, outdated things. This thing was done in the 70s. Well, 20 years later, another study was done, and they found a very, very fascinating thing. This was done by Sybil Yang, and her research showed this, that people actually read menus like a book. You start at the top, you read down, you go to the top, you read down. That's amazing. Now, here's something I want you to write down. Hashtag write this shit down. Research says that most people focus on the entree and then they build their meal around that. That's really good to know, especially when we're going to start using what I call Jedi menu mind tricks. We're going to do some things. You ever seen Star Wars and Obi-Wan saying, these are not the droids you're looking for? Well, I'm going to show you some menu Jedi mind tricks that you can actually start using that are going to direct people to where you want to go, because our mind plays tricks on us. So let's start off with a pop quiz. Type in the chat, top or bottom? Which line is longer? Top or bottom? Type in the chat. Type in the chat really fast. Don't even overthink it. Type in the bottom. Top or top? Top, 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 top. Got top, top. I got some same, top, 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 same. I got some top, 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 equal, top. All right. For all of you who said the top was right, was it? Oh, if we look at this, they're actually the same. See, our minds play trick on us, but that's a beautiful thing to know, because if I know how to manipulate thought patterns, I know how to change different people's perceptions, I can get them to go to the conclusions I want. And that's what menu design is all about. So your menu must be three things. Hashtag write these down. This is where a lot of especially owners go sideways. Your menu must be three things. It must be containable, approachable, profitable. CAP, cap, right? Your menu must be cap. Containable, that means your team has to execute it. So many times, I'll tell you that from personal experience, I've made this mistake myself as a chef, is I tend to chef shit up. And chefs are the worst sometimes. We tend to get in the menu and we try to make it really complex, make it really cool, showcase our culinary talents, our wizardry. And then we make this thing so complex that we have to be there all the time because we're the only ones who really execute that level. Your team has to be able to execute the menu without you. Has to be containable. Also has to be approachable. Sometimes you get too fancy for your own good. I had a client in, it was in Iowa, very, very small rural town. Chef decided to really go crazy on this thing. And he offered, he had a filet mignon with pommes à la go, haricots verts, and a demi-glace. And he kept going, I don't know why this thing isn't selling. It's a great dish. I said, look at your market. You got to play to your market. You got to write to the level of your market. I said, why don't we change that name out? Instead of saying filet mignon, pommes à la go, haricots verts, and demi-glace, why don't we say it's a beef tenderloin with cheesy mashed potatoes, green beans, and a brown gravy? And sure enough, sucker sold like crazy. Sometimes you chef it up. And when you chef it up, you F it up, okay? Hashtag write that down. Sometimes when you chef it up, you F it up. All right. And then the last thing is, gotta be profitable. I don't usually teach menu design normally until people have done their food costing, because it's no good to have a really, really great menu if it's bleeding you money. So you got to make sure this thing's profitable. Least we forget, we are in business to make a profit. Profit is not a dirty word. Right. Last that I know, most restaurants are not charities. They're usually a for-profit business, and we want to make money. All right. And I want you to make money. So your menu must be cap, containable, approachable, and profitable. So let's get into some Jedi menu mind tricks. These are the menu items you're looking for. This is my simplest one. I love this one. It's probably the easiest one I do. It is called the 1-point font change. We are wired to notice differences. So it's funny. Our brains are wired to notice subtle things. That's why we've lived so long. And like, when our caveman relatives were like, "Hey, Luke, is that a saber-toothed tiger in the bushes over there?" Yeah, it looks like it. And then Johnny, who didn't notice it, got eaten, and then now Johnny's dead and gone. So it's like a survival mechanism. Your brain is wired to look for things. It's part of our reptilian brain. Okay. Now, as you saw with that line thing, and of course the top one looks longer, but it's not longer. Our brains play tricks on us, and we can play tricks on people to get them to take their eyes and focus on what we want them to. Here's the thing I want you to remember. If I can get people to look at a menu item just a 1 second longer, I have a better chance of selling that item. This is where this one comes in. So again, let's do a little quiz. I got 3 different lists or 3 different words of tenderloin here, beef tenderloin. Which one looks different? Or maybe I'm just messing with you. Top, middle, or bottom? Jose says the middle. Percy says none. Matthew says number 2. Middle, middle, middle. Top. All right. Got middle, middle. Same. All the same. All right, cool. Now, just so you know, the middle one is bigger. It's 1 point difference. Let me give an example of this in a real world menu. So this menu, which one draws your attention? Which one looks a little different? Type in the chat, which menu item draws your eyes right away? Type in the chat, which one draws your eyes right away? Our signature steak, yeah. And here's the thing. So it's hard to see it on a screen. Most of the fonts, the titles of the fonts are 16 points. The brown sugar cured beef tenderloin is 17 points. It's a 1 point font change. It's big enough to make a difference. And then I added our signature steak in yellow to really draw attention to it. This was their number 1 selling. This was a steakhouse I consulted with back in probably like 2010. And we basically, I redid the menu and I did this just like this. And here's the thing. Now, a lot of times when people see a tenderloin, they think, wow, it's going to be a high food cost. There's different types or different categories of food, especially meats, like different classifications. Like there's select, there's prime, there's choice. This thing we bought was called no roll or not rated. All right. And we took this thing, we did this brown sugar cure on it with brown sugar, with roasted shallots, roasted garlic, some coriander. It was really, really amazing. And we put this cure on there. And I tell you, you would not know the difference between a select cut and a prime cut after I put this cure on there, because it changed the flavor profile so dramatically, you wouldn't know. And just that cure just kind of tenderized everything and made it almost like meat candy. This was their number 1 seller, and it was also the best food cost at the time. Now, this is an older menu. The prices probably would be dramatically different by now. At the time, this food cost on this thing was 23%. For a steak, that's an amazing food cost for a steak. Okay. So yes, the middle one is 1 point bigger. Again, I want to have a second chance for you to look at that item. If I get a second chance, it increases my chances of you ordering it, and that's where I want to drive you to. Next up, the bold word. This is another one. This is an easy one too. I mean, there's 2 easy ones. I'm gonna give you 1 point font change. Now, here's the thing I'll tell you about the 1 point font change. Don't overuse it. You can only use it 1 time per section. If you put too many items with the 1 point font change, it loses its effectiveness. You only for every category, you can only use that. You only use that tool 1 time, the 1 point font change. Now, this one's a totally different one. The bold menu thing is that it goes on the premise that people scan menus. We don't really read menus, and I want to help them. Okay, so let's look at this menu right here. All right, classic menu: Kobe beef sliders, lobster wontons, cornmeal dusted calamari, baked brie. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. Now, look at that menu again. Oh my God, it's like it just grew like neon signs. I highlighted the key words I wanted you to look at because remember, people scan menus. If you like Kobe beef, you like lobster, you like calamari, you like brie, your eyes are going to focus in on that right away. This is a powerful, powerful tool. It is super easy to do. Okay. You just guide people where you want them to go. Kobe beef, lobster, calamari, brie. When I see the brie, then I say baked brie. You got to understand there's way people read menus and the way they process menus, and there's a big difference between the two. Right? How they look at menus and how they process menus are different things because I don't read it logically. My brain has to put it in a narrative when I read stuff, and I'll go through this a little bit longer. Right. Next up, symbols have implied meanings and they send actually subliminal messages. Human beings, we understand that symbols mean stuff. You see an octagon red sign in the United States, you know it means stop. You see a yellow triangle, it means warning, right? What do you see when you see a plus sign? Type in the chat. What do you see or what do you hear or what do you see? What do you think of when you see a plus sign? Yeah. And, right? Most powerful thing they teach in, like, if anybody's ever taken an improv class, the thing they tell you about improv class, the whole premise between improv is yes and. You never stop. You always keep the momentum going forward. So let's look at that menu I just did, and you're going to notice I took the commas out. This is the biggest thing I do. All my clients don't have commas on their menus because most restaurants would have green chili, comma, cheddar cheese, comma, chipotle ketchup. By taking the commas out and putting the plus signs in there, it shows perceived value. If you've ever gotten pushback, anybody ever said that, we get complaints that our prices are too high. It's not your prices are too high. It's just they have a perception your prices are too high. So like this, Kobe beef sliders, green chili plus cheddar cheese plus chipotle ketchup, $9. Right? Lobster wontons, butter poached lobster plus poblano cream cheese plus sweet chili dipping sauce. Wow. Cornmeal dusted calamari, tomato basil sauce plus lemon zest aioli. I take out a lot of the fluff words. I don't like a lot of fluff. What do I mean by fluff words? Served on a delicate bed of, right? It's too much stuff. Remember, people scan menus, they don't read menus. So this really helps them. The next thing you have to understand is called semantic salience. Semantic salience is what price presentation means to guests. Again, you know that the plus sign means more, has a positive connotation. Well, there's also a symbol out there that has a negative connotation, and y'all know what that is. It's the dollar sign. And the dollar sign to people means price equals pain. So the Culinary Institute of America did a study on pricing, and they found that if a menu item is either $14.99 or $15, doesn't really have a big impact on sales. However, removing the dollar sign does increase sales. Cornell University did a deeper study on this, and they found that you take the dollar signs off your menu, you can increase your average spend 8%. Hashtag write that down. Just taking the dollar signs off can increase the average spend 8% because when people have this association of parting with their money, it sends a negative signal to their brain. How many people feel excited when you get bills in the mail every month? If you do, you're a sick puppy. Nobody does. Maybe a few people do. Remove the dollar signs on your menu can actually reduce the pain associated with spending money. Right? So you notice like on that menu I did, there's no dollar signs on there. Right? Right to the point. $12, $11, $10. Now here's another huge mistake restaurants make. Price placement. Put the price where it matters. How many times have you seen people put and how many people have their menus and you have like the name of the item and then you have the price right after it? Like you have Kobe beef sliders, $9. Lobster wontons, $12. You want to change your menu overnight and you want to change your sales overnight? Here's the thing I will tell you. Move the pricing. move the pricing to the place where it needs to be, and that's at the end of the description. So if you notice, like my little menu I've been using here back and forth, people read and perceive menus differently. You think they read menus like Kobe beef sliders, green chili plus cheddar cheese plus chipotle ketchup 9. No, people read menus like this. This is how their brain has to interpret the information. Oh, Kobe beef sliders. Oh, I get green chili and I get cheddar cheese and I get chipotle ketchup for just $9. That's how people read a menu. That's how their brain processes. No one reads it like a caveman. Lobster wonton, butter poached lobster, plus poblano cream cheese, plus sweet chili sauce, 12. No. They have to draw their own conclusions. So when you make it easier for people and use menu psychology, use some of these tools, you will see it's so much easier to get people to actually buy what you want, when you want it, how you want it. And you're also going to get less pushback on pricing, which is a beautiful thing because price pushback kicks everyone's butt. All right. Let me show you something real quick. All right. So let's go into some menu psychology. The doctor will see you now. The doctor will see you now. All right. Let me pull this up real quick. So you're going to have a good time with this. If I can find it real quick. No, I can't find it. I'll pull up later. All right. Words are powerful. Words are so powerful. I mean, I write so many books, and I'm a huge believer in the power of words. Let me give you a short demonstration, right? Here's what I want you to do. Unless you're driving, don't do this, okay? But I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to read off a bunch of words. I want you to listen carefully, and I want you to imagine the words that come to mind, all right? I want you to think of the image that comes to mind when I read off these words. I will give you a list of words. Close your eyes. I'm watching you, Luke. Close your eyes. All right. There he is. I want to make sure. Close your eyes. Listen carefully and think of the image that comes to mind. Are you ready? Bed, rest, awake, tired, dream, wake, night, eat, comfort, sound, slumber, snore. Now open your eyes and type in as many words as you can remember. Type in the chat as many words as you can remember. Type in as many words as you can remember. Please, please, as fast as you can. Type in as many words as you can remember. Got sleep, awake, snore, bed, snore, tired, got sleep, got sun, got sleep, sleep, rest, bed, awake, sleep, sunrise, got rest, snore, got sleep, got snore, sleep, bed, got snore, sleep, awake. All right. How many people had bed? If you had beds, type me. All right. If you had snore, type me. All right. If you had sleep, type me. If you had sleep, type me. Type me, type me, type me. If you had sleep, me. All right. Here's the thing. I never said the word sleep. Everything I gave you implied sleep. I did not say sleep. The words were bed. No, most people get bed and snore because it's the first word and last word I say. That, my friends, is called priming and recency effect. Okay. Your short-term memory is very, very powerful, and we want to use that to our advantage in menu design. So how does that help us out? Look at these menus here. Items at the top of the column and the bottom of the column tend to sell better. So what do I put at the top of the column and the bottom of the column? I put my high profit items. The stuff that, people, we call them, we did that menu engineering, right? We talk about puzzles, or we talk about plow horses, which are plow horses or workhorses are popular, not profitable. I bury those in the middle, right? And at the top of the column, bottom of the column, I put all the good stuff that I really want to sell. I put my puzzles there and my stars. That's how recency. By changing your menu positioning around, you can actually increase your profit. You can increase your sales 10, 12% overnight. Now, you got to know what your menu items cost. So it helps if you know what the profitability is. But if you do that, I mean, you can really take advantage of it. This is where, when I do menu engineering with people, I can change their profit and their sales overnight just by understanding this menu psychology. Also notice, like you did, like in that one that said brown sugar tender, said our signature steak. I use words sometimes and boxes and icons to draw people's attention to where I want them to go. Right. Now, let's talk about some do's and don'ts. Do's, big fonts. Make it easy to read. Don't. You see how this one on the right-hand side has like the, like has the dot out to the price? That's a bozo no-no. Don't do that, please. And also, when you see the one on the right, if you notice, the prices are all nice and neat in a line up and down. That's called stacking. Stacking is bad. Why? Because everyone in the world has a budget. Right? Everyone, when they go to a restaurant, has a budget in their head. They have a price in their head of how much they want to spend. So most people, again, they scan menus, they don't read menus. So if your menu is stacked like this, the pricing up and down on the side, I'm going to scan up and down to the price point I like, and then I'm going to read backwards to read the item. That's bad. Remember, I want them to see the name, read the ingredients, and then fall into the price. That's why we use the sequence we do. Name, then the items, and remember, we took the price signs in there. So this plus this plus this plus this plus this, just for $14. And I take the dollar sign off. That's how you increase your stuff. Okay. Do not stack your menus. If you have a menu, like a graphic designer design your menu, your graphic designer will do it like they'll do it nice and pretty, and they'll stack your prices because they want it to look pretty. Hashtag write this down. Pretty is not profitable. Okay. You want to be profitable. I don't want to be just pretty. I want to be profitable. The one on the left is one of my favorite ones because I love the big, bold fonts. I can see right, oyster, poor boy, brisket, Reuben. Oh my God, barbecued kitchen sink. Oh, the veggie burger. Oh, I love Cuban sandwiches. So it makes it easy. Make it easy for your guests to find what they want. Make it easy for them to find what you want them to find. That's the whole idea of menu psychology, is to drive their eyes where I want them to see. And when I get them where I want them to see, then I get them to buy. So if you're on Pinterest, Pinterest is a great place to do like menu research. If you follow me on Pinterest, the restaurant coach, I have a board up there. It's called Restaurant Menu Design. You can just follow me on Pinterest, the restaurant coach, and you can find, I have a board of all menus I've put on there, and some really great ones and some bad ones. Some great examples, some bad examples, but it's a really good exercise to see as many restaurant menus as you can and look for what's out there. Okay. Now, a lot of times when people are looking at menus, a lot of times they'll ask me, how big should a menu be? Is there such a thing as too small of a menu? I'll say no. Right? Do not underestimate the power of the small menu. I'll give you a classic example. In-N-Out. In-N-Out menus have stayed the same for years. Now, they break all my rules. They have the dollar signs and they stack their prices. But when you only got 4 items or 5 items, it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. You got to understand that smaller is sometimes better. It's a little more efficient. It's faster on your team. You have less inventory. It will increase your profitability. One of the things a lot of restaurants understood after COVID is that they had to cut their menus down because they went to just, carry out and delivery only. But when they got reopened again, they found that having a smaller menu was actually better, a lot more profitability for them. Right? We have a tendency to want to add stuff to the menu because we get bored with it. If your guests aren't bored with it, don't do anything. And here's the thing I would say, if your guests are bored, that's what your features are for. Don't overload your menu with all your ego, pride, try to showcase all the crazy things you can do. Most of my clients, I have them usually strip their menu down about 50%. Usually have them take 50% of their menu items off. It just makes it a leaner, meaner machine. And especially the way the economy is going with, supply chain. I mean, who noticed in the last week chicken prices? Crazy. I have a lot of clients taking wings off the menu right now, just putting them on hold because it's just it's crazy. The price points are just crazy for chicken. Right? You got to know when to basically put it on the side and just say, I'm not going to run this for a little while. Right. Let's talk about anchors and decoys. We tend to make comparisons. Now, this is actually a menu I did at a steakhouse in it was in Beaver Creek, Colorado. It was actually the Beaver Creek Steakhouse, and we put this menu together. This was on their appetizers. I had a PB&J and a bottle of Cristal. So a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a bottle of Cristal for $197. Right underneath that, I put a chilled mixed seafood platter for $87. I did not sell a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with a bottle of Cristal. I mean, I had a couple, highfalutin people that wanted, jet setters that wanted to show off to their friends that they could afford a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a bottle of Cristal for $197, but not too many. I sold a lot of the mixed seafood platter, right? This is called anchoring. Anchoring is I put a high price on the menu and then I put a lower price item underneath it, right? It is a beautiful, beautiful technique and tool. And why? Because it draws that price juxtaposition. Because when you see that one price, you're like, oh my God, that's outrageous. That's crazy. I don't know how that's going to be able to, how people can afford that, right? So how do we do this? We actually do this in very, very subtle ways, right? Let me show you a great tool and technique for this. Okay. Right. So you saw this menu, PB&J. How about, remember this menu I showed you earlier when we did the 1-point font change? I did the same thing. I did anchoring on this thing too. I put a 24-ounce buffalo ribeye for $42, and then I put the ribeye for $35. Again, some people were curious about having a buffalo ribeye, and they ordered it. I didn't sell a lot of buffalo ribeyes. I sold a lot of ribeyes. The tenderloin was the best seller. The ribeye was the second best seller. Right. And there, I did it on purpose. This is a beautiful thing about anchoring. I put that high price item on there that I don't really care if I sell a lot. I'm doing it purely for juxtaposition. I want to put a price up there that people go, a ribeye 42 or the ribeye for 35. I like ribeyes. I think I just want the $35 one. Right. That's a great use of this tool and technique. Another thing you always want to remember when you're doing your menus, this is a great technique to do. 109 seconds. That's the average time spent looking at your menus. I challenge you to have someone take your full menu, have a stopwatch, and don't tell them what you're doing it, what the time limit is. Just start reading the menu from the start. Read every word like you normally do it at your normal pace. Just read, and then let them start reading. And when you hit 109 seconds, say stop and see how far they got. If you're like most of my clients, they only get about halfway through your menu before the time is up. This is why a lot of people don't sell some of those really good items at the bottom of the menu or on the second page of the menu or third page of the menu, because people just get bored and they lose attention. The average human nowadays has the attention of a goldfish. That's 9 seconds, not much. Average person reads a menu 109 seconds. It's horrible. Okay. Right. You want to understand that if it takes longer to make a purchase decision, it leads to what's also known as paradox of choice. Too many options create stress. Restaurant owners often think, and I've done this too, we think that more choices that we offer, the more likely guests are able to find what they want. Now, studies, on the other hand, real studies, psychological studies, show it's opposite. More choices are not always better. Hashtag write that down. More choices are not always better. When confronted with too many choices, people become anxious and they are pressured to make a decision. Have you ever been at a fast food place and there's like a line and the person goes up to order and they're looking at the menu board, their arms are crossed, and they can just feel the pressure of like everyone behind them staring at them like, come on, order. And they're looking over their shoulder. They feel the pressure on, and they go, that's paradox of choice. I call it threshold. I can always tell, and if you ever go out and listen to the people order at your restaurant, listen for what's called threshold. Threshold is when they say, I'll just have, and they usually order the chickens, usually order the chicken Caesar or the burger. They tend to go to their fallback thing. Right. How does this play out in an ice cream shop with flavor choices? I like to guide them around. So you want to train your team to ask questions. Hey, welcome to our ice cream parlor. Hey, what are you looking for today? You looking for something more cream based? You looking for something chocolate? You looking for more of a fruit based? What are you looking for? What's your favorite? I like, like more cream based stuff. I have a fantastic, I have this over here. I would like group your ice creams by categories, like have all your chocolate stuff, have all your dairy, your cream based stuff, have all your fruit based stuff in a certain area. So it's easier for people to make choices in ice cream shops. Problem with ice cream shops, people it's really tend to be random. Like they're all over the place. Categorize it, make it easier for people. Just like I want to drive people to make decisions on my regular menu, right? I want to drive people to make decisions based on what they like. Like I like cream-based stuff, right? My girlfriend loves fruit-based stuff. So when we go to the ice cream place, like it's the same thing. They don't have it organized. So we're like tripping over each other trying to find the stuff we like. Make it easier for people to do business with you, and you're going to find that they actually make easier buyer decisions. When they make easy buying decisions, it's easier for them. Yep. Same thing for bar drinks. Have your specialty cocktail items, right? Have your draft beers. Everything's divided up. You want to make it just categories, make it easier. I train my team. So there's a thing I teach called neuroselling. Neuroselling is basically use a concept. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here. I use a concept called rule of two. Rule of two is I guide people. So let's say I go to Luke's restaurant. I sit down at a table. Server walks up and says, hey, can I get you something from the bar? I say, yeah, I'll have a vodka tonic. And then they say, what kind of vodka would you like? I go, what kind of vodka do they have? Oh, shit. How many vodkas do we have in a restaurant? 20 different flavors. So I just say the rule of two. So I pick two out for them. So the conversation I teach my team to do is like this. Hey, can I get you something from the bar? Yeah, I have a vodka tonic. Grey Goose or Belvedere? What else you got? Chopin or Tito's? I tell them. I just basically make a decision for them. I give them options. All right. Yeah. I mean, you think about all the liquor you have in a restaurant, you can make a plethora of drinks. Chipotle is a great example of this. Anybody ever been to Chipotle? Chipotle has 15 ingredients, right? If you do the math, it's 5,800 combinations. But you don't walk in Chipotle and see a wall with 5,800 combinations because they have you customize it. They make it easier for people, right? How do they do it? Would you like a bowl? Would you like a salad? Would you like a burrito? All right, easy. You want rice? Which one? Brown or white? You want beans? Pinto or black? Right? They make it easy for you. What protein would you like? Right? What salsa would you like? They understand the flow of stuff like that. That's how you want to do it for your menus. Okay. And then the other thing you want to remember is descriptions are powerful. The way you say it really does matter. There are 4 types of descriptors you want to remember, right? Geographic, nostalgia, sensory, and brand dropping. Geographic, these are descriptors that call out specific regions in an attempt to be like a lot more authentic. So you could say like Kansas City ribs, that's stuff that's like geographic. There's like a famous farm out in Santa Fe, Rancho de Santa Fe in LA that almost all like the gourmet restaurants use, Rancho de Santa Fe lettuce. So they say stuff like that, right? Geographic's great. Okay. Nostalgia, grandma's zucchini cookies, right? Grandma's, whatever you want to say, grandma's, whatever. Yeah. And a lot of people say this, like, I like to use words like home style, and you want to think in words of like comfort food. Sometimes I'll use stuff that implicits a memory, or I might, maybe there's a story behind it. Maybe Luke has his Grandma Pearl's famous meatloaf. See, that brings in nostalgia. Now I got like Grandma Pearl's famous meatloaf, Nona's house-made meatballs. That's nostalgia. Sensory starts appealing to the senses. This is where we start using words that are extremely sensual in experience, like silk, sumptuous, kind of an anticipation, right? Wood grilled, things like that. And then you've heard of name dropping. A lot of people do name dropping a lot. Hey, you know, I hung out with so and so. Hey, I met Elon Musk one time. Who cares? You know, Michael does. He just bought a Tesla, so he wants to hang out with Elon. So brand dropping is another thing. People like brands. Like if you're serving Minute Maid, if you're serving Heinz or Hunt's or something like, or maybe you got Shiner Bock as a beer. Brands pay billions of dollars to get their brand positioned in the market so people know their name. Take advantage of all the money they've spent. So like if I'm doing I'm doing a beer barbecue, I would say the name. Like I'm doing, like in Texas, I'm doing a Shiner Bock barbecue sauce for my ribs. Right? Helps in two ways. It helps people identify and recognize and respond to it. Okay. And it also lets them know I'm using I could say a Michelob barbecue sauce. Or if I'm using like a local distillery or somebody that's famous in that market, like in Texas, like Shiner Bock's pretty famous, I'm using something that's a little more connected to that market. It gives you a little bit more credibility, right? And that, double down on that if you're using like local produce. If like you're using a local farm, put their name in there, like Bebe Farms, right? Whatever your local thing. What about fun names for item titles? For example, fuel tankers instead of just, oh yeah, fuel tankers instead of just cheese curd. Yeah, fuel tankers. Awesome. Yeah. You should have a strong hook in there. That's awesome. I love that kind of stuff. But to make sure, so it's not so obscure. So fuel tankers, if I don't know what it is, I would say like fuel tanker curds or cheese curds. I would actually make it like a really cool full name, not just fuel tankers, because now I don't know what that is. And if you don't have it in the description, then it's going to confuse me. And remember, hashtag write this down. If your guest is confused, you lose. Write that shit down. Right. Let me show you how to roll out a menu, because a lot of times we get these menus designed and then we drop the ball on a menu rollout. So I'm going to tell you 10x your success, the 10 steps to a successful menu rollout. Write these down. Rolling out a menu requires an action plan and commitment. I mean, you invest a lot of time and money and energy in rolling out a new menu. You want to make sure that your restaurant is set up for a massive menu launch. Number one, create menu training packets, right? This is a list. This is usually, I give it to the team. It's usually a list of like all the menu, like every item has a list of all the ingredients, the way they appear in the menu. And I give detailed descriptions from like the recipe worksheets. All menus are included on the list, whether they are new or not. Every time I give them a training packet, I don't just give them the new items, I give them everything and we review everything. The training packet has to have, I like to put in a glossary at the end of the training packet with definitions of any culinary terms. Remember, most servers did not go to culinary school. You know what haricot vert is, you know what al dente is, you know what au sec is. They don't. Right? Make sure you teach them and train them. Step two, you have to create a menu training test. This does not have to be a big daunting task. The point is not to make your test hard. It's to force the service team to understand and study the menu. Servers should not be allowed to work on the floor until they reach an 80% or higher on the menu test. When I had my first restaurant, I told my team before we opened that there was to be a menu test. Now we hadn't opened yet. I said your schedule will be dictated by how you do in the test. If you don't, and they had to have a 90 at my restaurant. So if you don't pass with a 90%, you're not going on the schedule. And then after I took the menu test, and I said, well, we're opening on Tuesday night. I'm only opening with Kelly and Carla, and everyone else like, well, what about us? I said, well, you didn't pass the menu test. And they said, you were serious? Yeah, I'm serious. You don't have a 90%, you're not going on the floor. Oh, we'll study. Can we take it again? Yeah. But you're not going on the floor until you get a 90%. That was my standard. I would not budge from it. All right. Number three, update your recipes. Every menu should have a recipe card. Hashtag write that down. Every menu item should have a recipe card that serves both as a reference and also a training guide for your cooks. I organize those recipe cards in a recipe book that's in my kitchen. And I like to have tabs for each section. So I got a tab for, for prep items. I have a tab for appetizers, for entrees, desserts, everything. Each recipe card should also have a printed picture of how the plate should look when it's completed. It's called a plate spec. Right. Number 4, create new prep list. Your prep list is a standardized tool that allows the chef, the sous chef, or a line supervisor to plan prep for a day. There has to be a separate list for every station unless your prep is small enough to fit all on one page. Right? You have to separate your prep list by stations. One of the biggest problems I see is that chefs or kitchen managers allow the team to set their own pars for prep. This was a huge mistake when I was a young chef in my 20s. I'd go in the kitchen and I'd ask the team, you guys all ready? Y'all set? Yeah, we're set, chef. We're set. About an hour into service. 86 is, 86 set. Hey, whoa. What happened? I thought you guys were all set. What do you think they said? I thought I had enough. Take the thinking out for your team. You will be so much happier if you eliminate the thinking for your team and you do it for them. All right? Please eliminate the thinking. Please eliminate the thinking for your team. You will be so much better if you eliminate the thinking for your team. All right. Next up is I create a line diagram. I like to have a line set, a basic layout of how prep items should be placed on the cold stations, in the steam wells, bain-maries, also where all the extra prep should be stored. I set up my expectations from the front. The chef or sous chef always thinks they know a better place, but we want to be standardized. All right. I need the team to be standardized. Like if you run in a really effective bar, like your speed wells are set up a certain way, usually like by color coding on liquors. Usually starts with vodka, gin, right? Usually goes by color. There's a reason for that. It makes it more efficient and faster. Same thing for kitchen lines. You want to have your lines set up in diagram where everything goes in the same spot. So that way, like let's say Luke is trained on the line, but he's working pantry, I'm working saute. Luke has to jump over to help me. He knows where everything's at in the line because he's been trained. He just grabs and goes. He's not like asking me questions, slow me down. Hey, Donald, where's your aioli at? Hey, Donald, where's this at? Now we're slowing the line down. In the kitchen, every second counts. We want to streamline efficiency and make our team more productive. This is a best way to do it. Number 6, practice your new menu items. I would say like 4 weeks prior to rolling out a new menu items, you should run these items as features, get both the kitchen and the service team familiar with the items. And then also the cooks and servers should be allowed to taste them so they understand what the flavor profiles are. Number 7, you want to promote the new menu items. You want to start hyping up your new menu item at least a month out before rolling out a new menu. It's hard to hype and it's hard to build hype for anything in less than a month. Luke will tell you that. All right. It takes a while to get the wheels going. It looks time to get some momentum going, get it in right front of the right people, get the audience looking at it on a consistent basis. Marketing's not like, you don't turn on the floodgates for marketing overnight. It's a process. It takes a little while to get momentum going, dial in the ads, dial in the target audience, make sure what's working, what's not working. They make a lot of adjustments. Trust me, I've seen these guys in work. Right. It's not just a one and done. Hey, Donald, I got some ads for you. All right, have a good day. No, they're always constantly tweaking, always adjusting them, stuff like that. Right. Hype up the menu. Talk about it on all your social media platforms. Do videos. The best thing you do is go live. Hey, I'm in the kitchen. Hey, this is Donald. Hey, I'm in the kitchen today. Hey, we're doing a little prep on some of our new menu items rolling out next month in June. Oh, I want to show you this one. We have these Korean short ribs that are just to die for. And we got some really cool pickles. Hey, Fred, hey, what's going on? Hey, talk about this a little bit for me. I'm doing live. That's a great way to do it. Number 8, don't forget your dessert menu. A lot of people, they redo their regular menu, but they don't update their dessert menus or their beverage menus. If I'm doing a menu design or we're doing a fresh menu rollout, update all your menus, not just your main menu. And of course, update your POS system. Everyone does this. Everyone does this. Everyone does this. Like, we call it planning fallacy. You think because you can do your menu, I can do the POS. I can update the POS in about 2 hours. How many people have been up at 2 a.m. at the restaurant trying to get their POS updated with all the menu? And even then, still not going to the right stations. It's horrible. I hate that. And then, of course, 10, stay on track. Right? Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have dates. Make sure you have a list of who's accountable for what. So you hold people accountable to what they're doing. Right? Menu psychology is an art and a science. And when it mastered, it boosts your sales and also guest satisfaction. Applying these menu Jedi mind tricks, they're a little unorthodox, but I'm telling you right now, from working with thousands of restaurants, they work. Remember, your menu is more than a list of dishes. It is a powerful tool that can influence guest choice and drive your restaurant success. Take time to design it, test it, and then continually refine it based on feedback and sales data. The investment pays off. It's going to be higher sales, happier guests, and of course, what our goal is a lot more profitable restaurants. Here's your gift for hanging out all day. I'm going to send this over to Luke. He will attach it to the replay. I'm going to give you a little PDF. It's going to be about the 3 menu design hacks that drive sales. So I'm going to give you my top 3. I'm also going to give you some really cool other stuff in there too. Right. Now, before we go, let me ask you a question. If I dropped you off out in the middle of the woods, how likely would you be to find your way back to civilization if all I gave you was a water bottle? Probably not too good. All right, probably not too good. But if I gave you a topographical map and a compass, you could navigate out every time. Well, here's the thing about coaching. Coaching is just like that. In the last 14 years, the coaching programs I've run have helped over 2,800 individual restaurants just like yours. Coaching provides 2 key elements: accountability and new tools. I mean, I have tons of books out there. You can read my books, you can get tons of tools out there, but without having someone who can help you know when you're going off track, it's very, very difficult to stay on target. Okay. Very, very hard to stay on target. So the Restaurant Accelerator is the program that we offer through Restaurant Growth. It is the fastest way to get from working in your restaurant to working on your restaurant. It's also the fastest way to increase your profitability. I would tell you, this is 100% transparency. The average Restaurant Accelerator member does a 19.8% profit margin. That's pretty amazing, seeing how the national average is only 4%. Right? It's because the system works. And in the system, you get a lot of tools, you get a lot of resources, a lot of workshops, a lot of modules, a lot of downloads, all kinds of stuff to help you get to where you want to go, depending on wherever you want to do. Right? Tons of material. I think it's over 95 hours of workshops, over 380 downloads. Plus, you also get 3 group calls a week. You get a Tuesday accelerator call with me. We get the Wednesday webinars here. And then Thursday, I do a Q&A call, live Q&A call with all the people in my coaching group. So you can ask me questions directly and get answers. Right? There will be a Restaurant Success Summit 2024. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in Scottsdale. 3 days, 6 speakers, 18 workshops. I'll tell you what, if you sign up today, you sign up for Restaurant Accelerator, I'll give you a ticket to Restaurant Success Summit. All right. 200 hours of downloads all together, over 380 stuff. All you got to do is just speak to your restaurant growth team support, then ask about it. All right. Questions. Luke threw it in the chat right there if you want to talk about the program. And I tell you, it is guaranteed. I will increase your profit margin 5% in 90 days. Guaranteed. Minimum 5%. Normally, I can do it a lot higher. Yeah. Depends on how much you put into it. Remember, tools are just potential. You pick the tools up and use them, and you're going to get there. Yeah. So Restaurant Success Summit. So as a bonus today, Luke, if anybody signs up today, give me their name, and I'll give them a free ticket to the Restaurant Success Summit. I charge $2,500 for the Restaurant Success Summit. So you get a free ticket. It's not a year commitment. No, it's month to month. Luke and I like it like this, and I've always done, and this is one of the things we talked about when we did the coaching program. I like a month-to-month program because if I'm not getting you results, I don't want your money. I want you to get results. It kind of helps me earn my keep too, is making sure you're getting results. So that's why we keep it month to month. Super easy to get in, super easy to get out. And I will tell you, you will see results. You will see results. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a few questions coming in here, guys. If you guys are interested in joining the coaching program, again, the Donald, first of all, awesome stuff today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Super. I mean, I'm just sitting here blown away. But yeah, if you guys want the stuff that we talked about today is just just a preview, just a sneak peek of
Oh,
what
it's small. Yeah.
the whole program can be. Um, so I put a link in the chat below if you guys want to join the program. You can do that month to month agreement. It's, you know, for the value that you get, I mean, it's literally guaranteed to make your money back. So if you're struggling with some operations and your margins are not where you want them to be, what'd you say? You said your average client right now is 19.8%.
19.8. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the economy is pretty tight and they're still doing pretty good. Every week I have people doing record profit numbers. So it's awesome. I love it.
Incredible. Yeah. So yeah, the program is 2,000 the first month USD, 1,500 a month after that.
Yep.
And again, with the 5% minimum increase in margins, you'll pay for the program, I mean, many times over. I think you've got clients with you for years just because they like
5 years now.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they love the accountability. They know that every week they're going to talk to me or one of my coaches, and they're going to be held to the fire, and we're going to make them accountable. It's like, why do you hire a personal trainer for the gym? I mean, you can go to the gym and work out, but you go to get a trainer because you want faster results. That's why you get a coach.
That's right.
Yep.
And if you guys, we do offer financing as well. So if you're in the United States, we offer a financing option. You can get started, I think, for as low as it's like a couple $100 a month only. It's
pretty cool
if you do the financing option. So I will put that link down in the chat below if you guys want to apply for financing.
Yeah.
A lot of our clients do financing, even if they're, you know, very, very profitable, just because, you know, who goes to the car dealership and just drops 70K on a car? Most people finance the car. So you can do that as well with this program too.
What makes a coach one of my certified restaurant coaches? They've gone through my training program on the TRC method, and they understand the accelerator program, so they can teach my method. So that makes them a certified restaurant coach. They're certified in my training program, so they understand how I process all my frameworks. So remember, every module is a frame. So there's 9 different frames in the accelerator program. So they're trained on all the different frames to teach you and help you. When you get stuck, they give you the tools and give you the resources and coaching to get unstuck. What sector are 19% makers in? All over the board. Now, I'll tell you, like, my steakhouses tend to be 15 to 18. It's hard to get a steakhouse above 19%. But I'll have breakfast places that do breakfast and lunch. Now, my breakfast and lunch places, they do 28 to 34% profit. The taverns I coach do, I mean, high 30s, low 40s%. But the average restaurant across the board, my full service restaurants, my fast casual places do anywhere from 18 to 22% profit. The problem is, we'd like to see the recipe for the vanilla bean. I'll send it over to Luke, and he can give it to you guys. That roasted vanilla bean lemonade. It's a killer recipe. I'll send it to Luke. All right.
We had a question earlier as well that I believe we had missed. Let's see. It was about Lindsay. Lindsay said, sorry if you already covered this. I was late to the party. Thoughts on the 99-cent pricing versus the whole number pricing?
The what?
There's a question from Lindsay Kofelt. She's asking thoughts on the 99-cent pricing
99 versus
whole
number pricing. Research has shown actually the 0.99. I mean, people are pretty smart. Like, so if it's like $1 versus, 1.00 versus 0.99, the nines don't really move the needle too much. But the biggest thing that will move the needle is the dollar sign. Take the dollar sign off will move the needle. I have some places that, that actually, like, they calculate the tax and everything, and it doesn't really, yeah. But the biggest thing you can do is the dollar sign. I know research has shown, I think Luke can back me up on this as far as marketing, like 7 works better than 9. I don't know why. Like 97, like 997, it works a little bit better than 999. But the biggest thing that you want to do is dump the dollar sign, and that will help you out so much more. Yeah. Perfect.
Next week, we've got profit and loss mastery.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I got some really cool tools in there that are gonna open your eyes up. I'm gonna dig you into a little bit of prime cost fixing. I'm gonna give you some really cool tools. Most people, when they look at prime cost, they know maybe 5 ways to fix prime cost. I'm gonna show you a dozen different ways to fix your prime cost. It will change the way you look at your P&L and your prime cost.
Yeah, that'll be a really nice one as well. So hopefully everybody can make that, guys. Same day, same time.
We won't be running this seminar again, but we will have the replay available in the webinar series. But we run a new webinar every week. So my goal is to give you new tools each week. Though, anyway, like we said, like if you don't feel like going into the coaching program, that's cool. Just keep showing up on the webinars. We're going to give you some tools.
Yep. No pressure at all for the coaching program. It's just if you guys want more results faster.
You want more results faster and you want some accountability, let me and my team help you.
These webinars are just a sliver of all the stuff you guys go into.
It's like, yeah.
All right, Donald. Well, we're 7 minutes past the hour, guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
7 minutes with us today.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Luke. Have a great day.
Yep. See you guys later.
All right, ciao.
Bye.